Stock Diaries. Learn and grow.
Hello everyone, today we are going to make a calculator to learn the Ajax functionality in MVC. So first of all we'll make a new project. We'll add a web-based MVC project. In this tutorial in this tutorial we'll first make the UI and then we'll introduce the Ajax functionality. So let's select MVC and let's click OK for adding the application. We are using bootstrap for making the UI design, so after going through this tutorial you will be able to make Ajax call using jQuery to manipulate the on-screen calculator, and we'll make a UI of the calculator with all the buttons and all the operators, and for calculating the result we are going to make Ajax calls. Ajax calls are basically asynchronous calls, so that your page is not refreshed. The calls go behind the scene and only the relevant part is updated, not the complete page is refreshed. Only the relevant result comes back from the controller and it goes into the screen. So as we added an MVC project, if we just executed the project that we just did right now, we'll see that a basic MVC template is already installed and a basic site is ready out of the box, as the Visual Studio provides this out of the box to us. You see there are three controllers: home controller and your login controller and other controller. So this is a basic template that when we make an MVC project it provides us. So we'll right click on the controller and add an empty controller. Let's name it calculator. So it's calculator controller. See, a controller is made and there's a new index method. We'll right click here and add a view which would be empty and without model. So let's click on add. This will create an empty view for us. So this should be our starting page. This will be rendered as synchronously. There is no Ajax call till right now. So right now we'll just make the UI. So let's see how our screen looks right now. If we go to the controller tab, on the URL let's type controller so that it goes to the controller class, and it will render index method which is rendered by default. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll manipulate our and we'll create our initial view, the calculator view here. We'll use the bootstrap classes and we'll make the view here. So let's rename the index to calculator. Now first of all what we'll do is we'll add a container. We'll make a div and we'll add a class named container to it. This is the bootstrap class which defines that all our contents are now then placed in this parent container, so it holds all the elements. This is a structure that we follow in bootstrap. So first of all we'll add a container. Bootstrap is a CSS framework used for making UI. Inside the container we need to add a row, because all these frameworks, these CSS frameworks, these are basically 12 column grids. So we add a row and then we can have 12 columns in every row. So basically what happens is uh, we have for example there are classes provided by bootstrap, column sm1, sm2, sm3, like this sm12. So 1 means 1 column, 2 means that the width is equal to 2 columns, and 12 means it has the width of 12 columns. So we add a parent container with sm12 as width so that it has a page width. Now we'll add an input element to this. This will basically represent uh, the screen of a calculator, the result screen of a calculator. So to give you a little background knowledge, what happens is all the width in bootstrap is in percentages. So I have added a container which has a full page width, that is it has a 100% width. In this element I can add another 12 columns, or and each column, if I for instance okay, so there is some issue with this. Basically what happens is each input element, uh, um, I mean we'll talk about it later, there is a max width constraint on it, so we'll have to remove it, then only it will occupy total width. So what let's do is, let's make a div so that things are organized. Let's add a keypad div. Under this keypad will add all the spans, all the numbers, uh, and all the operators. Now we want 4 keys in a row. So as I said, we have a 12 column parent. What we can do is we can have sm3 class added to this so that it occupies the space of 3 columns. So what I did is, the structure here is that my parent occupies the space of 12 columns, and inside this each children occupies the space of 3 columns. Now don't get confused with this. If I change column sm12 to sm6, which I'll show you later on, all the inner elements uh, will resize accordingly, because the width here is in percentages. So if my parents takes half of the size, SM3 for example refers to 25% width, if SM12 refers to 100% width. So I have a container and I have all the child elements which occupy 25% width. One thing that I also want to tell you is, if I shrink the parent, okay, I reduce its width to say 50%, then my child elements are still taking 25% of the parent. Okay, so they'll resize accordingly. So let's add all the numbers and everything. So what I have done for the keypad is I have added spans, I've added text, the inner HTML of the span is the number that I want to display on the span, and then I have added um, the column sm value, and I have added unique IDs to it. So if you notice, it is all sm3. What is the use of sm3 is because 3 4s are 12. So my each row is having 4 buttons, and then other 4 buttons will automatically come into the next line. You will notice one thing. Okay, let me just add this first. I have also added a clear button for clearing the screen. Let's refresh the page and let's see how it looks right now. Okay, so I forgot to add the numbers. I have kept all ones. So let's change the numbers. Let's add 1 2 3. Okay, my operators and everything. I'll just show you in a minute about what I meant uh, about how the sizes are relative to the parent. I'll just show you in a minute. Okay, so let's have everything in place. Actually, I'm not sure if the keypads are in the same sequence, so let's first look at uh, okay, it looks quite plain. Okay, so let's have a look at an image of a calculator. So how does it look? And we'll replicate that. This one looks good. Okay, so I need to rearrange the numbers. Okay. Okay, so let's move our other numbers, 7 8 9, our operator, and then next set of numbers, because I'm basically copying this first one I'm copying that pattern so that it resembles actual calculator. Okay, so I need to basically add few inputs as well for 0 and for decimal. Okay, so here we add our 0 and decimal. We'll name the IDs accordingly because HTML does not support two elements having the same IDs. Okay, so we'll, and later on it will be helpful for us as well to identify the elements using jQuery. Let's have a look at how things go here. So now what we are doing is, since we have added a span and we want these things to look like buttons, so we are adding a class named button, and then uh, we are going to add this again another class which will define a color to it. It's button default right now, so you can have different classes like button primary, button danger, and button success. So they have different colors like red, green, blue, etc., and the default one is, I guess, gray only. So you can change a few to make UI accordingly. So this will add a feeling that it will add a CSS, it will add a style to it, that your controls, your numbers, these spans will automatically look like numbers. Oh, sorry, they will automatically look like buttons. And when you will click, they'll have this nice animation effect that will give an effect of clicking. So let's see how it looks like now. There you go. See, so it has all the nice styling. This is the button class, makes it look like a button, and then you can define which kind of button. Okay, so if you only add button class, it will be by default button default, and if you want to change it, you can also add another class to it. Okay, so there is some issue, as I said. The okay, so what I want is, see, it's a 12 column grid. Okay, so until and unless all the columns are filled, they will keep on floating to the next of each element. What I want is, I want to push an element. See, after this clear button, I want to push all the elements, all the buttons beneath it. I don't want them to float right next to it. So I added this class named clearfix. What this class does is, it pushes the element in bootstrap, and it makes it down, and then I added a class named pulled right, which makes it pull towards the right of the screen. So this is a bootstrap class only. Now I'm facing an issue that my input is not 100%. It is not taking the width of 100%. Okay, so now I'm showing you that I'll add this class to it. Still it will not take 100% of the width. This is because in bootstrap there is a limit, which I'll show you just right now, which limits the size of an input to 280 pixel. I'll just show it to you right now. So no matter what style you apply, it will not go beyond this. You have to make some changes. See, there's the max width constraint here. So if you need to go through it, you need to, basically what you need to do is, you need to set a max width and then you need to make it explicit that you need to override the previous version. What you will do is, see, you add a max width, and then say I put it this much, and then I add a constraint name important. What this important does is it forces to override any previous value of this particular style, this max width. Anywhere down the framework, if this style has been set, that value will be override by this new value because I've added important to it. Okay, still it is not 100% because we need to instruct this that you need to take width as 100% of the size. Okay, so let's increase the size. Since width is 100%, so width will automatically adjust as per the size of the screen. But what I need is I want to set a maximum size so that most of the screens can be accommodated, because max width will limit the increase in the width after a certain amount. I mean, if you have set any value in this max width, if the screen size goes any bigger, then even if it's 100% won't take the width. Now see, what I've did is I've reduced the size of the container. I've changed it from column SM12 to SM6. The size is reduced, the button size is also reduced because the sizes are relative. That was what I was mentioning earlier to you. So let's paste the style here for the input element, and as we saw, the sizes were relative. Right now let's keep it to column SM12, and I guess this would be just it. Okay, please let me know if you find any issues.